Looks like we're live.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We have the approval of the minutes from March 2nd, 2021. Do we have a motion to accept them as submitted?
Ready to move it?
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we have the approval of the CSE, CPSE recommendations. If there are no questions on these, do we have a motion to accept them?
Motion to accept.
Arnold, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, once again, with public comment, Executive Order 202.1 has temporarily suspended in-person public meetings. If anyone would wish to make a public comment, they may do so by emailing the BOE at waltoncsd.org or by calling 607-865-4116, extension 130. And we have discussion items. Let's see. First one, March 18th, we have Thursday, super eval training for the board members at 6 p.m. If anyone needs an additional screen, please let Corey know as soon as possible so we can get that to you. And then also if there's a need to use the school facility, an office space in the school, please let her know that as well. And Corey, I think I let you know that I will need a spot.
Correct. I've heard from 3 of you.
Okay. March 30th is the Community Budget Forum. That'll be a virtual meeting at 7 p.m. And we also have the, BOCES is offering a budget presentation for any Board of Education member that would like one. I believe we just did that not too awful long ago. If somebody feels the need, they can attend this. Let's see, that was March 30th, right? No.
They could come on the 30th. We have a meeting
Oh.
on the 30th or the 20th would be the last day, if you desire it.
Right. So does anybody feel the need to do that again, or are we all okay with that?
I'm good with it.
With not having them come again? Okay. Would anybody prefer for them to come? I'm trying to look at all the screens here. All right. So not hearing some. All right. So I guess we thank them for that offer, but we'll pass.
Okay. Thank you.
And we have the draft 21-22 calendar and the Board of Education meeting schedule for your review.
And the 2021 calendar is actually down below as in addition to the agenda with the detail there. It'll actually be hopefully approved this evening as WTA has reviewed it. We have worked together on it. It's ready for review and approval. I can talk to that more when we get to that item. With the board virtual forum, attached are the documents that for that forum to. Did we attach them, Corey?
Yep.
Okay, you can see them. For the obtaining the comments, and I actually did a comment so you can see what the reporting out would look like.
Right.
Is that, anybody have any thoughts, anything, any addition or anything different? Does that work?
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that looks good.
We'll make sure to have that link as we're communicating. We'll keep that link live right up until the budget vote. We'll check it daily. And then bring those report out, that spreadsheet. It'll just be a compilation. So you'll see them all. None will be removed. And you'll see them all from the time it goes live until the time that we get to adoption. So that way it's a good record of anything that's commented or asked. And we'll get it to Meg and to the board. Okay.
Good. There will be a need for a facilities committee meeting. And how soon are you looking to schedule that, Corey? Where should they be looking on their
I
calendar?
believe Meg asked for next week if possible.
Okay,
We'll be looking for direction on the Townsend School floor. We have proposals of how to proceed with that and address that situation. So as I previously mentioned, we'll take it back to facilities and then come forward with a recommendation of how to proceed as to our normal process with projects. So that's what the purpose of that meeting will be. I don't think is that the only agenda item at that time, Meg? I think it is, right? Yes.
okay, Kevin and Graydon, is that something that you can narrow down this evening for them, or?
The week of the 22nd through the 26th, for me, looks like it's open nights. I don't want to say that too loud, but that's what it looks like.
No, I'm pretty much in the same boat, so I think we could do that. If we could do, I guess it don't really matter.
What time would be
We're-
preferable for you, Kevin?
What's that? Sorry.
What time would be preferable?
We're going to do this by Zoom, correct?
Correct.
I would be, 6 o'clock would be nice, but I mean, I could probably squeeze in 5:30. We start our summer schedule starting Monday.
Okay,
So-
that helps. Thank you.
Kevin, do you want to be earlier in the week? You normally like to be like a Tuesday. Tuesday's fine by me.
That works for me if we do Monday, Tuesday, whatever. The week looks pretty flexible right now at that point. So, I mean, I just,
Tuesday's good
Okay.
with me. If that's what you want to do. We'll get on the
Okay.
calendar.
So
Okay.
we'll try for Tuesday at 6 or 5:30 if need be.
Yep.
Okay,
so
thank you.
All right, good.
Thank you for that.
I'm thinking that'll probably be fairly quick meeting anyway. No?
I think so.
Okay. Next, we have correspondence. We have the workers' compensation. They will be holding a meeting on March 19th for the Workers' Comp Self-Insurance Alliance. I will not be able to attend that meeting. And then we also have, in your packet, we have the request from the William B. Ogden Free Library. They are requesting a 1.5% increase for their current budget, which was $125,775 to the sum of $127,662. All right. Additions to the agenda.
As Dr. McDonald pointed out earlier, we do have one addition to the agenda, item 8G, and that is non-consent, and it is to adopt next year's school calendar, 2021 through 22.
Okay,
Just a few comments on this, if I may.
sure.
We have, other than one day, which is, we moved one of the, from the region, in comparison to the regional calendar has the 7th and 8th as conference days. We have removed one of those conference days and moved it elsewhere in the calendar, essentially January 31st, placing a conference day at the beginning of the second semester. Something that we did for many years to allow for that transition and preparation for that second semester. Is a key aspect. The other consideration was the half days that were used for years and years in Townsend School for that last week. If you recall, a few years back, the state went through kind of a multi-year process. They switched to minutes in the week for instruction, and they had all that regulation. Now it's back to total hours in the year 900 hours for elementary minimum, 900 and something in the high school is a minimum, a little bit more than that. So in comparison and doing an analysis, working with Meg, we took a look at our calendar, our actual state aid funding calendar and our time. We feel that we can definitely put back those 4 half days for towns and school, which was always a nice way. If you remember, to end the year, it gave time for celebrations. Parents were able to take the students after, home on those given days. It just was a nice flow or end to the year. So that was something that was requested to be looked at by WTA, and we were able to do it. Other than that, we removed what has been a superintendent conference day at the end of June and the 24th, and put that back in line with the regional calendar into a March conference day. So we have a conference day, superintendent conference day, beginning of the year, one in October, one at the end of January, and one at March. So we have 4 opportunities for professional development, and those are key opportunities spread throughout the year. So.
Good.
Any questions?
And as far as you know, there's no problems with like the scheduling of music events and sports events and all that? Has the administration had a chance to review that? We've had problems in the past where we found out that, especially during, Regents isn't going to be so much of an issue, I guess. But
we'll be taking this calendar with approval. It's one of the reasons why I didn't want to hesitate, wanted to get it here early. Then we'll take it to the administrators, and they'll work with their departments to plan from that backwards, as well as the board meeting calendar. I would like for us to avoid big events on board meeting nights.
Right.
The board can attend if they choose to support our students. So we'll work on those now, working backwards, because we do have this in a nice timely fashion of March 16th.
right, yeah,
But
good.
none of that planning has happened. The band events and all of those, none of those dates have been set yet for next year.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes that runs into a problem where, especially if you have children still in school that are participating in it. And I can remember having the door to the boardroom open so we could hear the music.
I remember it well.
Yeah. Good. All right. We're up to the consent agenda. We have the financial reports, the transfer of funds, the declared surplus, non-resident student application request. We have some resignations. Melissa Rydell as a teacher aide, Mike Tweedy as a custodial worker, Karen Fletcher as a typist, and Gordon Fletcher as a bus driver. We wish them well. And the appointments of Vincent Escobar as substitute custodian, the athletic recommendations, and the personnel approval of Jennifer Bartlett. Are there any questions or concerns on any of that? If not, do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make it.
Arnie will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Next, we are up to nominate DCMO BOCES Board of Education. There are 3 seats. 2 of them are not seeking re-election. So that leaves Vanessa Warren. And as nobody had indicated a desire to sit on the board, the BOCES board at that time or this time for any of us. So would anybody be opposed to nominating Vanessa Warren since she's the only one that's seeking re-election?
Support
I'm
that.
good with that.
Be fine.
Okay, so do we have a motion? We have to, yeah. Do we have a motion to nominate Vanessa Warren to the position of DCMO BOCES Board of Education?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor? Oh, second? How about I do that first?
Kevin will second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and next we have the, to approve the resolution providing for the holding of the annual meeting in and for the matters in connection therewith. And this is for our announcement of our budget vote. And Corey, correct me if I'm wrong on anything. We have the Proposition 1 for the 2021 budget, Proposition 2 for the bus lease.
Correct.
It's at 325,000. And that will include a 5-year, for a term not to exceed 5 years, sorry. And then 3 65 passenger school buses. And then we have the vote for the board members. And there are currently 3 vacancies. The presently held by Arnold Drum, Rhonda Williams, and the vacated by Marilyn Lewis and presently held by Chad Trimble.
Correct.
All right.
And the budget hearing is stated to be held remotely.
Okay. Good. So do we have a motion to accept that?
I'll move it.
Second?
Arnie will second it.
Arnie? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. All right, we're up to accept participation agreement to join Comp Alliance. And as you know, this is where we will be moving from New York State. I just lost it.
It's the current workers' comp.
Yes, and then joining the Workers' Comp Alliance program, or yeah, Workers' Comp Alliance, right? I want to say
From one alliance to another.
yeah, there we go. Workers' Comp Insurance, that's what I keep, to Comp Alliance. Were there any questions on any of that? Meg is here, so if we do have any of, no? Do we have a motion to make that move?
Graydon will move it.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and next, authorized notification of intent. And I've skipped over one, I think, didn't I? No,
No, that is correct.
is, okay,
It's part of the same moving to that new alliance.
Graydon will move that one
all
too.
right, so yes, this is just the legal part of it, okay. And Graydon moves it, and do we have a second?
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. All right, authorized design and construction service proposal. This is for the 2021-22 capital outlay project, replacing the flooring, lighting, ceiling tiles in one of the special education rooms. And their proposal fee for this service is $7,000. Do we
Well,
have
just
a
to-
motion?
Just a question on that. Was that also asbestos abatement?
Did we have asbestos in that?
I don't think we do.
No? Okay.
No, there was one spot that they tested and sampled, and I think when they tested and sampled it, they removed the entire elbow or whatever the issue was for the testing.
Okay.
So I think anything that's related is there. I don't believe there is.
Great. Thank you.
This is for the capital outlay project for next year, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
For the floor in the classroom?
Yep.
I just want to make sure, Meg, that's what we were talking to. I thought we had floor abatement for that room.
I'll double check and send an email if I'm wrong.
Okay.
All right, so do we have a motion to accept that proposal?
I'll move it.
Second,
Arnie will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and authorized transfer to property loss reserve. And this was to increase our current deductible from 1,000 to 5,000, correct? Are there any questions on that? If not, do we have a motion to accept that?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second,
second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. We also have 8G, which will be the WTA, or I'm sorry, the WCS calendar. Do we have a motion to accept that calendar as submitted?
Arnie
I'll
will-
move it.
Okay, Arnie second.
Arnie will second.
All in favor,
Who was that? Wait a minute. Who was that?
Kevin and Arnie.
Thank you.
You gotta break this up some.
I know.
And signals.
Get Chad off mute.
I'm off now.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. All right, we are up to 9, the policies first reading. Paul, would you like to do those honors? Do you have that?
Oh, you betcha, Rhonda. You betcha. I can't make the font as big as Corey usually does, but I'll work it through. Policy number 0101, gender neutral single occupancy bathrooms. 0115, sexual harassment and bullying prevention and intervention amendment. 0120, formal Title IX complaints. 0120E, Title IX complaint form exhibit. 9140.1, staff complaints and grievances amendment.
All right. Do we have a motion to accept these as the first reading?
Great to move it.
Second,
Arnie will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. And Paul, once again, the policies second reading. You have those?
All right. Policy 0110, sexual harassment. Policy 0110.1, sexual harassment of students. 0110.2, sexual harassment of employees. 0110.2E, sexual harassment of employees exhibit. 0115-E, DASA complaint form exhibit. And 1120, school district records.
All right, so do we have a motion declaring them as a second reading and adopting these policies?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and then policy correction and changes.
I can talk about these.
Sure.
Because of the changes that we made regarding sexual harassment and also the leftover policy changing our records retention schedule, these are just a couple other policies in which those references are mentioned. So these are just corrections, small changes that would be made to the policies. Nothing substantive.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions on them? If not, do we have a motion for these policy corrections?
Arnie will make it.
Oh, I'll second Arnie's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
All right, we are up to administrative remarks. And did anybody have any questions? And we do have Mrs. Hoover on with us. there any questions on that?
No, I just want to say again, I appreciate getting these in this format. This is great. It gives us some real good information and insight from how the administrators are working and what's going on in the schools, and it's a nice read. So I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just add the remote learners number that I gave you at the bottom is already down 3 from there. So every week we have more and more coming back now that things are getting better.
That is nice. And I'm glad to see that with the 4-H and Mrs. Roach helping with the chicks. I think that's really cool.
Spice things up a bit.
Yes. Yep.
And the remote learners, Amanda, you were as high as at one point in this
We
year.
were almost to 40 at one point.
And middle school was as high as 60. They're down to 30. And high school has been over 6. Well, no, they were at 70 and they're down to 50. So we're slowly getting there on their own without too much nudging.
And it was nice to see the breakdown from Mr. Loomis on the difference between the remote learners and the in-person. That's a huge difference. So it definitely is beneficial for the students to be here if they can.
Very telling. Data is very telling when you put it side by side like that, for sure.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
So my turn.
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. Just a couple quick items. Most important item, meals. April break. The summer feeding is still authorized, which gives us the ability to feed students during break. So we're currently, we have a survey that's going to be going out soon. We're surveying who would like it. We're trying to do pickup only at the high school. And then if anybody does need transportation, they can make a reasoning and a case for needing the transportation of delivery, and then we'll work with them individually. So that information will be coming out to our families very soon for planning. And athletics, just an update and a little bit of a discussion on spectators. This is something you'll hear, and we've been posting different things that are going on. So I just wanted to make sure that the board was well informed, and then I actually wanted opinion on a couple things. But volleyball being indoor, high risk, the MAC League made a decision that there are no spectators, the same as what basketball was. They've carried that over only for parent night, the same as basketball. Outside sports, when we're using a neutral site, we're using Windsor and Sydney a number of times as a neutral site. Those two school districts are not allowing any spectators whatsoever when we use them for a neutral site. So we have some field hockey and soccer games mainly that we're using those as neutral sites. They're not allowing it as a district. They don't want to take responsibility for bringing in 2 groups of spectators to their facility when they're not going to be there to supervise it. And I offered up things like, if we're the home team and we're using it for a neutral site, we'll pay some of your individuals to assist us with that, to try to move along the discussion. It didn't go far. I tried. Initially, and this is changing by the hour, as of this morning, we were still checking with one MAC League school. No one was allowing visitors to their site for outside contests. Only 2 or 4 for split family spectators, for home spectators only. By the end of the day, this afternoon, Sydney is now allowing, and my understanding is that Delhi is going to change and they're going to allow. So I'm hoping that this is going to become a trend and that everybody will allow for visitors, 2 or 4, depending on the family situation, per spectator, per athlete. I initially was going to say we would say no to visitor spectators, but if a school district allowed our fans to come, we would allow their fans to come. So we would work a relationship that way. So depending on what happens, I'm hoping that now that a couple have gone to allowing visitors, I'm not opposed to allowing visitors. It's a contact tracing. We keep them separated. We get lists. they're there, we're there, and we move. I think it's beneficial for all kids and all families at this point with outside, not inside, but outside. I'm hoping that will start a trend and that all the teams that we play will allow that. Working with Oneonta, the game, my understanding is our home football game this week is going to be shifted to Oneonta this weekend due to field conditions. We are the home team. I'm hoping that they will allow us to act like a home team and be able to bring our spectators. I have offered to personally be there to oversee our spectators in contact tracing so our families will be able to go. So I'm hoping, I have a request into the superintendent, and I'm hoping that they'll allow that if I'm present. So we're trying everything we can so that we can get at least the 2 and the 4 with spectators to home contests and potentially away contests, but that's up to the facilities that we play at. I know that was a lot. Was that confusing or was that clear?
No, I appreciate you offering your time to go there, to do that contact tracing. But hopefully, you would be in agreement with it. It'd be nice to allow the parents to be there in person.
Right.
Also, Dr. McDonald, there's been a lot of ask about split families, things like that, and it's been addressed at 4 for a split family athlete. I think that's great. That does a lot of benefit to the kids that have split families and trying to figure that whole scenario out. So thank whoever for that, because that's appreciated in the community.
Yeah, multiple schools are doing the same, so we're pretty consistent. Not all, but multiple. The thing to remember, and it's important to note, is that there's 2 things with the regulation regarding outside. One, they say it's 50% of your capacity. Well, 50% of our capacity outside in that football stadium, that's a lot of people, right? At all of our facilities, it's a lot of people. But then they say 200, maximum of 200. But then they go further and they limit it by athlete. So if they would just stop and say it's 200, if 50% worries them because of this, at some events that could be 1,000 people, right? Depending on the size of the facility. So if they just say 200 and allow the districts to work that through themselves with the visitors, that would allow us some latitude. If we have a team that's got 10 kids on it and we're allowing 2 per athlete or 4 for a split family, when the capacity is 200, that's something I'm hopeful that DOH is going to change. I'm going to personally reach out to Mandy Walsh and ask them if they would consider allowing us to use that 200 maximum and take away the per athlete and let us control our own environment like we do during the day as a school district. I'm hoping that they'll consider that. If they don't, then we have to work within their guidelines, which is 2 per athlete. We're stretching it with the split families as it is, but I think it's only the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely well beneath the 200 mandate. So any questions on that? I just thought it'd be good to clear up the regulation on that.
Thank
Just
you.
for one other clarification, Dr. with the neutral schools, like if we, for example, use Sydney, just because they're a close neighbor. If we're playing over on their grounds and we're competing against Sydney themselves, where does that leave us with our families? Is that a 2-4 or a 0 at this point?
2-4. It was a 0 as of this morning. They have changed today, so now it's the 2-4, the same as what we're doing with visitors.
Right. If, for example, go ahead.
If we're playing Sydney, but if we're using the field to play Delhi, then it's nobody can bring anybody, just the athletes to play. So I will say Sydney and Windsor have been wonderful. They're working with Rick. We're trying to get our streaming to operate in those 2 facilities. And hopefully we'll get that up and operating. So if we do use it as a neutral site, and I believe there's like 4 field hockey games as a neutral site at Windsor. So it's not a small impact, it's a big impact. So we're trying to be able to stream it so our families can see the contests. So, and Rick's been working hard on that along with Justin, trying to get these details down. So,
well, maybe that'll be one good thing that comes out of this pandemic is different districts thinking outside of the box to work together for the the greater good of the students.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping that with Sydney and Delhi and us putting out there regarding visitors, that we're going to get the rest of the league, and then we can get a consistency. Neutral field is neutral field. I wish that they would allow the home field to take the responsibility, and even if they got to put different parameters in place, or if they got to have a custodian and the home field takes responsibility and gets a bill, an invoice for the custodial work to use their facility, whatever we could do to use it as a home facility is what has been floated. But again, if we do that, we're bringing upwards of 200 people into their community in the middle of a pandemic. And if they do not feel comfortable doing that, then that's their prerogative. That's their prerogative. And I understand, especially with Sydney, they've had ongoing cases and contact tracing situations. So that's up to them. We may be thinking the same. I may be saying the same thing if we were a neutral site. We just don't have a turf field. we have grass, and our field's not a neutral site. That's for sure. It's going to be a mud bowl out there in all of our fields for a while.
Right.
So.
No, and there's a lot of room to give those districts a lot of thanks just for even opening up the door to be a neutral site. So I appreciate.
They've adjusted schedules. They've really accommodated many teams very well. So that's why I said I'm not criticizing. I'm not going to push them at all. I'm thankful. But we did offer to say if it's the personnel issue, by all means, we would entertain. If you've got to have certain personnel on site and that would make you more comfortable as a school district, we certainly would entertain an invoice. So we did offer that because I thought that was the right thing to do. But they made their decision out of safety for their community, and I certainly respect that.
And I'm just thankful that the students are able to participate in the sports that they are now. So that's a big win right now, considering where we've come from. So
you bet, and they are enjoying it. That's for sure.
Got my first traffic jam after school tonight, picking the boys up after practice. It was a good feeling.
Yep. Yeah, that's all I had.
That's all you had? All
Yep.
right.
Thanks.
All right. So there will be a need for executive session to discuss matters leading to the future employment of a particular person, contractual negotiations, and litigation matters. And we will be asking, I don't have my list, to bring in the attorney, Robert Schofield. Meg, I believe, will be joining us. And there was one other person that I don't have written down. Mike
and Amanda.
And Amanda.
Mike Caperna and Amanda.
Okay. All right. So I I'll accept a motion to enter into executive session with those invites.
I'll move it.
Motion.
Second. Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do you believe that there will be any
No.
action? Okay. So then once again, I'll ask for a motion to enter back into general session and adjourn.
Paul said he moves it and I second it.
Shaken. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I was
All right.
muted. I didn't know.
I could see you saying it, Paul.
We knew
Thank
anyway.
What? Past performance is predicted.
All right. So
We still did it well.
we will see you in exec.
All right.